Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm Noah, the host and creator of the Native Noah podcast. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Native Noah podcast. Why don't you tell the audience a little about yourself?
Awesome. I'm Barely Trev. I'm 23. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm living in South Carolina right now, and I've been making music for about 5 years now.
Okay, cool. Why did you start to make music?
So I started when I was around high school. My friends and I, we'd always hang out and kind of freestyle and do that type of thing when we hung out with each other. And one of my friends got a little microphone one day, I think my senior year, and set it up. And I was like, "Yep, let me come by and hang out, lay some stuff down." And so kind of all I had to say that having a solid friend group and a tight, friends with kind of the same passions was the main reason I started getting into making music, I would say.
Nice. What inspired you to make music?
Just I had been writing songs since middle school. Just like I got notebooks filled probably from growing up, just filled with songs, and just kind of the fear of having those go unheard for the rest of my life is definitely part of the reason I wanted to start making music. I didn't I had a great life growing up. I don't have as much of like a story as maybe some people have when you start rapping and you have a story to tell. And I didn't feel like I had much of a story to tell, but I felt like I did have kind of a joyful energy to spread through my music, and I felt like at the time my music could make people happy. So that's kind of the starting point of where I wanted to first start putting out music.
Nice. What artist inspires you when you make music?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. So many. I when I first started making music, I was strictly rapping. I hadn't gotten into my singing bag too much, and at the time, I didn't know how to play guitar yet. So, people like Chance the Rapper. Um, I was big into like the Christian hip hop scenes, like Lecrae, Andy Mineo, a lot of those guys. Super Duper Kyle was one that I really liked. And as I started getting older and learning how to play guitar and getting into more kind of alternative indie music, singer-songwriter music, artists like Hosier really inspire me, Jacob Collier, just like really, really talented musicians from everything from songwriting to like playing different instruments to just the way that they arrange and compose music. So those are a couple names just to list a few.
Okay. What inspired Maybe I'm Stuck?
Oh, good question. So I wrote that song. I wrote that song at the beginning of COVID, like when everything got locked down right away. And it was it was written at a time when I was about to move. So I was still in Minnesota and I was planning on moving to South Carolina pretty soon. Um, so the idea of the song is kind of about like being in a relationship and wanting to just like get stuck where I was because I knew that I was going to be leaving. And that kind of meant like the end of a relationship. So saying like, oh, like let's get stuck, saying, can life just be on pause for a second? Like can we just not move on? So it's kind of like a breakup song, but also celebratory in the fact that there's good times ahead.
Okay. What inspired Armor? My personal favorite song by you. And what was it like working with No Big Deal?
Sweet, man. I love that you love the song. Yeah, that song started. I had opened for No Big Deal in like 2019 at one of his shows,
Oh, wow.
and that was kind of my first time meeting him. And kind of from there, right before like the end of the night, he was like, yeah, like let's definitely work on something. I was like, sweet. So it was about a year later then that I made the song Armor. And I had just reached out to No Big Deal. I was like, hey, like I finally got something that like we could make together. And he was like, bet, send it over. So I sent it and he loved it. And he sent me a verse back like a week later. And that's kind of how the song ended up being made. So I'm glad you like it, man. That's
Yeah.
definitely up there for me too. It's definitely like an intense song. Like it gets you hyped up.
Yeah. What is your favorite song you have made so far?
My favorite song. I would say either Maybe I'm Stuck, just because I was able to play guitar on it and be like play a big part of the production of it. Um, or a song called This Trench is a River, which is on my last project, Are You Empty Love? And I like that song just because of the songwriting. And when I had made the song, I hadn't really written anything for it. I just hit record on a mic and it kind of just like came out. So it was really cool how the song came together like that. So I'd say one of those two.
Okay. What is your creative process?
Creative process. I spend a lot of time writing music just on my guitar, just with an acoustic guitar. I probably have like hundreds and hundreds of songs written on my guitar that some I still remember and some I've forgotten, that if I heard like a voice memo from 2 years ago, I'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that song.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how a lot of my music starts now. It's just me strumming, singing some melodies, kind of piecing stuff together. And then if I have one I really like, then I'll take it to a studio. I have a little studio set up in my apartment where I live. And so then if it's like one that I really like, then and I think that would be cool to put out, then I'll kind of start to build it up from there.
Yeah. When you're having a hard time getting inspiration for a song, what do you do?
That's a great question. I don't know. I think inspiration is something that you definitely can't force. When honestly, if I'm stuck on something, I'm not going to try to force it. I'll just leave it for a little while. I'm definitely inspired by um like life experiences and stuff. So like sometimes like if I'm sitting at home and I'm like I can't come up with a lyric or I can't come up with the right melody, like I'll just go outside, like go for a walk. Like maybe I'll see something outside that inspires me or something. Just who knows, and and inspiration can really come from anything. So honestly, I just take a break from it, let my mind reset is kind of what I usually do.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Okay. My last question is, when are we going to see some new projects?
Good question. Good question, my man. I'm kind of in the process right now of kind of stacking up some music to be able to drop once the new year comes. So
Okay.
my plan right now, that I haven't really announced or anything yet, but is to hopefully have a song to drop either every week or every other week through the month of like January and February this year. So that's the plan in works right now.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for joining me. Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, man. Keep up the good work, dude. You're very professional, and when you hit me up and just like asked to do an interview, and definitely was down for it. So I hope you can keep getting interviews and keep making good connections out here, man. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Okay, have a good day, and yeah.
Yeah, you too, Noah. Thanks, man.
Hey guys, thank you for listening in. I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you really liked today's episode, make sure to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good night.